picking up my brand new 2024 Road Glide. Let's get into it. Alright, what's going on YouTube? FXDLS Brooklyn is back in the building. I'm coming at you live from a fantasy here in March, early March, out in Daytona Beach. And basically, I say it's a fantasy because I literally rolled in here last night, pulled up, and Harley Davidson proceeded to approach me and give me the keys to a brand new 2024 117 Road Glide. So that's what's happening. This is my bike. Well, one of my bikes. I do have options. Obviously, I got my main bike, my Dyna here, but this is going to be a bike that I put heavy miles on during the rally here at Daytona Beach. So as always, shout out to Harley Davidson for once again holding it down for FXDLS Brooklyn. You know, this is actually coming after a week after they set me up with a M8 Street Bob out in the desert. So a lot of palm trees, a lot of escaping in New York winter right now, and a lot of support from Harley Davidson. So let's get into what's happening. So why the bagger platform? So here's what I think happened. If you all follow my channel, back in the fall, I put out a video that got a lot of attention where I was talking about why I think the Lowrider ST is a better option than the entire bagger platform. Some hated it, some loved it, some agreed with me, some disagreed with me, but at the end of the day, the video did get a lot of attention. But anyway, it appears that Harley Davidson is on a mission to have me see the potential in the touring platform that they are offering. So they wanted to give me the full-on experience of setting me up with their modern touring platform to, again, potentially change my mind on what I think about the touring platform, which is, again, my opinion is that for me and my riding style, it's always going to make more sense for me to run a Lowrider ST in all situations. So Harley Davidson is definitely trying to change my mind right now, and I have an open mind, so I'm definitely indulging it. So yeah. That's what's happening. Harley Davidson set us up with this Road Glide. This is the first bike that they're setting us up on Daytona. I think they have a plan for some other baggers to have FXDLS Brooklyn throw a leg over, but this is the first one that they wanted me to test out. And what I'll do in this video is I'll just show you some of the highlights about this bike. And again, this is coming from somebody that is from the Dyna FXR touring life. So for me, this is a very luxurious thing. This is going from sitting on a bar stool to sitting on a sofa, right? So keep in mind, that's where I'm coming from. I am not a bagger guy by any means. I am more of the minimal sport touring life of FXR, Dyna, and now Lowrider ST. That does not mean that I'm a stranger to the bagger platform. Over the years, I've accumulated plenty of miles on the bagger platform, so there's a couple things I could tell you straight off the bat. First impressions wise, again, the last Road Glide I rode was actually a 2018 Road Glide, and I could tell you that this feels like a completely different bike, just in terms of general handling, general smoothness, and obviously power with this thing coming in with a 117 motor. So it feels like a completely different bike from the last Road Glide that I ran, which was like I said, a 2018, where we were scaling the Pacific Northwest with that bike. So I could definitely sense, just first impressions, many improvements. I'll go around, I'll show you specifically some of the details of where these improvements lie, and then as I put more miles on this, we'll make a more detailed video about reviewing this bike and who I think it might be for. So the thing that's already super clear to me is there's just major improvements with the suspension of this bike. I could feel it very clearly, again, coming from my last Road Glide being a 2018. The rear suspension is adjustable, and honestly, the way it is right now is fine for me, and I could clearly feel the difference between whatever suspension they put in this and whatever they were running in 2018. So that very much is checking off the box for me. For stock suspension, I'm pretty happy with this thing right out the box. So I'm having no issues throwing this bike around, sinking it into curves, having to do what it's going to do. So again, the suspension first and foremost, I definitely notice a difference. That's like the first thing. I think one difference that I noticed, that again, I'll get into more details later on, but one thing I'm actually particularly excited about is I love that they took the idea from the CVO line of eliminating actual physical gauges and putting the gauges digitally within the infotainment system. So I love that idea that the gauges are just going to be up here right now. So I think that's a really cool upgrade with this bike, just creating a minimal aesthetic in terms of, you know, it's just something a little bit more cleaner. I also really like that you could play around with the modes. So like, as you can see, like I've been shifting through the modes all morning, just seeing what's different. I left it on rain mode just to see what that would feel like, but I like the fact that you do have the option with this bike to play around with the modes of the bike, whether you want to do like sport mode or rain mode, or you can even create your custom mode. So that is a highlight of this. I really like that. There's some really small things that I think they've upgraded about this bike that I actually do notice. Like, one thing is, with my content, one of the most common questions people are always asking me is, hey bro, how tall is your windshield? I'm really trying to get my windshield height dialed in. I'm getting helmet buffeting. One thing that I really like design-wise about this bike in terms of people stressing out about getting the correct windshield is, this is a bike where you don't have to worry about stressing out about your windshield height, because this right here is actually fully adjustable. So you could adjust this for your exact height and it's going to give you that perfect wind flow that's going to eliminate helmet buffeting. So a really small thing design wise goes a long way for me, where I am someone where my riding style is heavy miles, mile crushing, 1,000 miles in one day, 5,000 plus mile bike trips. So small things like this actually make a really big difference for me. So that was one thing I noticed design wise. Other really small things is, like, I do like the fact that these little pods here, they used to just be like you force them up, and now it's literally you just click it down, it comes right up. Really small thing design wise, but I think I prefer that more. Speaking of design wise and first impressions, do like what they did with the headlight situation. I was on the fence about how I felt about this at first, you know, being the classic dual headlight of a Road Glide, but honestly this is really starting to grow on me. It does have integrated turn signals in it. Let me not be lazy and show you. So there you go, some integrated turn signals as opposed to last year having those bullet lights there. So cleans the bike up quite a bit and is just very effective. I think this lighting actually achieves adding more of a presence to this bike than was previously noted in the earlier models with the dual headlight. And again, it's not even on bright right now. And again, this bike definitely has a presence just with that headlight. So I appreciate that for someone who really cares about lighting, for both just being able to see the road as well as visibility. So that's an upgrade of these new 2024 Road Glides that is not lost on me. The bike comes stock with a crash bar. You know, if you're putting in the miles and you're throwing your bike into some sketchy situations, whether it be off-road or in hard conditions, bike drops happen, bad situations do happen. So it's just really nice to know that Harley-Davidson acknowledges that. And, well, wait, maybe I should talk about this correctly. Let's not call it a crash guard. Let's call it an engine guard, quote unquote. So this comes stock. And again, I think that's a move in the right direction. And, you know, for someone here who's dropped plenty of baggers in my career, definitely makes my time at Daytona a lot less stressful. So shout out to Harley-Davidson for that one. Stock. One other improvement that I think I noticed is, again, if you are someone that is primarily buying this bike for touring, I actually kind of like what they did with the bags. If you notice, they actually made these bags significantly bigger. In terms of on the touring line, this is probably the biggest set of bags I think I've ever seen stock. So again, the bags are definitely bigger, and as it's shown here, like, there is a lot of stuff you could fit in here. Like, let me tell you, man, for hard bags, capacity on these things does not disappoint. So I think that is an improvement with the 2024 Road Glide. Yeah, so for a stock seat, when I was ripping around on this thing, it definitely held me in place. So it does have a pretty aggressive step up here. So definitely happy about that. I'm a big fan of step up seats. So that is a step in the right direction. Good job on that, Harley-Davidson. Another small thing that makes a really big difference is, honestly, I gotta say, for the stock bars, I usually hate Harley-Davidson stock bars, but these actually aren't bad once you get used to them. I don't like how wide they are, but when I was just cruising, I actually really liked the height. It was not bad stock. But most of us are usually going to change the bars, especially if you do distance riding or if you ride in hard conditions like New York City. One thing I really like is, check this out, y'all. They actually changed this situation up here with more of like a clamp situation, which a lot of the performance bagger guys are doing and what a lot of us Dyna Bros typically do. So I like that they added this, because now it's literally 4 bolts and you're able to easily change these bars out, rise them, do whatever you want to do. And that's just way less of a headache if you're someone that's trying to change the bars. So that's a very small thing that could have a really big impact, especially if you're trying to use this bike as kind of like a blank canvas or a blank slate to do whatever it is you want to do. Another small thing, I don't know if the video is picking this up, but I don't know if you could see the tank, but they actually redesigned the tank on these. It has more of like a sharp angular situation right here, which I think is really cool. So just something that sets it apart from previous models. I actually like it. I think it looks like really aggressive, really chic, and really clean and really different. So a small thing that I think makes a big difference and sets this thing apart from its predecessors. Just cool to see them mixing it up a little bit, taking risks and stepping away from what they've traditionally done. And winding it down, the last thing I'm going to talk about is 117 is actually what I have in my Lowrider SD, so I'm no stranger to this motor. However, the thing that really stands out to me with this motor is they've actually made it so that the heads of this motor are liquid cooled. So for somebody that has to deal with gnarly traffic in my typical everyday riding and puts bikes through really stressful and hard situations, having that I think is a game changer, especially for the touring miles. So really dig that. And yeah, I'm sure I'm missing a lot of things. Like I said, I'm not someone that's coming off of the bagger platform. This is the viewpoint of someone who, again, this bike is like, again, not my everyday ride. I'm not a bagger guy. So that's coming from a Dynabro, the things that stand out to me. This is just the beginning. I got plenty more miles to put on this thing until we switch it up and ride something else. But again, this is my bike for the next couple days here in Daytona Beach. Shout out to Harley Davidson for once again trusting me with one of these beautiful machines. I'll do my best to put it through its paces. And that's it, y'all. My 2024 Harley Davidson Road Glide. As always, stay safe and stay low. Wear a helmet, especially out here in Daytona Beach. It is crazy out here, y'all. And on that, FXDLS Brooklyn is out.